Well, I've seen the Punisher. One last kill. And, well, right off the bat, you've got a title that is, just doesn't represent what happens at all. In fact, it's wholesale slaughter in this show, and it ends on a note that there's a whole lot more to come. So, one last kill? Are you out of your mind? Well, of course, the narrative of the story is maybe he thought he would do one more. I don't know, but he was at the end of his Punisher career. He had gotten his revenge on everybody that he deemed responsible for the death of his family. And so now he's left with really nothing. And he sits in his apartment and stews with his agony and pain and remorse and loneliness. And he's tormented by the ghosts of his past. Of course, the ghosts of his family, but the ghosts of his Marine buddies and people like that. And it's just driving him insane to the point that he's pretty much ready to end it all. And the only thing that prevents him from doing it is, well, a brief appearance of the ghost of his daughter. Now this is all his hallucinations and everything because he's so tormented. And it's, like I said, it's driving him insane. And that's the only thing that kind of prevents it. But as he's heading back home after this, and Mon Nucci shows up. Well, now she wants revenge because, well, it's her family he wiped out. So now she's come she wanted to, lord it over him. And at a specific time, the same time that he had killed her last son and all this sort of thing, a bunch of murderous bastards are coming to attack his apartment complex. And that's exactly what happens. And that's the bulk of the show, of him stuck in that apartment building dealing with this, not the least of which his neighbors all being attacked as well. And you have to think, well, why do that? Why not just have an assassin take out Frank? Because that's who she's mad at. Well, she wanted him to suffer way much more than just losing his life. So she's going to unleash all this evil criminality and whatnot on the whole of the apartment building and direct it that it's his fault. You're the reason this is happening and that kind of thing. So to torment him with that before he's finally taken out. And she figures, well, one of these guys is bound to get him. It's a whole army of them in there. And, doesn't go that way. Like a fish to water, he snaps back to it, and it's just one glorious takedown after another. They try setting him on fire. That doesn't work. He just, whatever he can get his hands on, heads explode all over the place. He locked away his own weapon so he doesn't, because he was going to retire, so he didn't have those. So that's okay. He just takes theirs, just mows them down. And to be fair, at the same time, he saves people. So his neighbors are being attacked. He saves them. And just one by one, he goes down and he gets close and he gets wounded, but he keeps going. And then there's this man who runs a little deli or what have you. And he's got a little daughter who reminds Frank of his own. So he's got to go down there and save them. And that's what he does. And that's the heroic measures that often are the offshoots of what Frank does, But this is the thing. He, in the midst of all this carnage, he's found his purpose. He's the Punisher. And these people need punishment. And look, the punishment does fit the crime. These were all evil, irredeemable bastards. So you just sit back and enjoy the show. And that's how it goes. The surprising thing is this is under the Disney banner. Now, they do put a warning at the opening of the show, but they own Hulu, and they're just going to merge it in to Disney. But even if it's just a tab, I thought perhaps they should have put this under Hulu, but it's not, like some of the more violent Marvel shows, you'd move it there. The rest of your Marvel stuff, okay, it'll be fine on Disney. But here, man, I mean, I'm saying, there is blood splattering everywhere. This guy goes at him with an axe. He misses. Frank takes him out. And oh no, he swings at Frank and hits his buddy instead. Then Frank hits that guy and he falls down on the axe and it goes into his face. Well, you got to have a certain amount of responsibility for your weapons. They can always be turned against you. And that's exactly what happens over and over again with old Frank. And so now he's found his purpose. He hit his stride. And so I guess that the only downside is he's not suited up while he's doing this, which, he was giving it up. He's walking away. And suddenly all this crap erupts, even though he had warning that it was going to happen. I guess he didn't expect it to be that hellacious. I guess he expected people to come get him at his apartment. And had they done it that way, they probably could have taken him out because he's so depressed and everything. And, but no, they attacked him. That was their mistake, So he didn't have time to, oh crap, I need to go put my suit on. No, he didn't have time for that. So, but at the end, he's back in action, suited up, and he takes out one more guy. Maybe that was the last one, but it's not the last kill. It's one more kill of many. So this early scene is very violent of what happens to this poor guy. Frank delivers revenge for him. And he's ready to go. He's ready for his appearance in Spider-Man. Now, I really don't think you'll see him do this level of violence in the Spider-Man movie. And, of course, there's multiple guest stars in the Spider-Man movie. So how much screen time does the Punisher get? Even though he may not just be a cameo, he may be weaved into the story, certainly the story involving the hand that we see in the trailer. It would make sense that he's somewhat involved in that. If it's just a cameo, okay, it is, and Spider-Man deals with him and he goes away, and then he moves on to the next part of the story. The Hulk is there. How much does he fit into it? Well, Spider-Man's suffering this mutation. Jean Grey shows up. So they're all going to have stories weaved in with him as he goes through. So, of course, we'll see how that goes. But nevertheless, this, I guess, sets you up for where Frank is. He's back in his suit. You know how he got back into it. So next time, he's teaming up with Spider-Man. So, if only briefly, So that's the deal. But ultimately, back to this special, this show, is that Ma Nucci wanted her revenge on Frank, and she wanted him to suffer, and that's why it was so brutal and nasty and really over the top and ridiculous. I don't think you could really pull that off with that many psychos, but nevertheless, that's what happens. And it was the absolute wrong thing for her to do because he was already dying. She basically saves him. She saved the Punisher. So, gave him purpose and all that. So there it is. So, wrongly titled. But other than that, pretty good. And Punisher in one special beat out what Daredevil had in 2 seasons. Maybe Daredevil should just be these specials, So far, Marvel's been pretty good at their specials. Werewolf by Night was good. The Guardians special was all right. And now this one. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what they should do because that way you only have an hour or so you don't have a lot of time to mess it up, which they do a lot. So, yeah, that might be the solution to this for a while until they can get some actual good talent to write better scripts and whatnot and figure this stuff out. But anyway, there you go. The Punisher. One more kill of many. Or one more kill after another. I don't know. Better title, more honest title than one last kill. Yeah, no, it's not the last. So anyway, there you go. The Punisher.